Good evening. Today I'm going to talk to you about the history of baseball bats. Baseball's been around since 1845, and the main goal, as you probably know, in baseball is for one team to get more hits and score more runs than the other team, so they can win the game. So the baseball bat is a baseball player's most valuable weapon, along with his glove. But bats have changed a lot since 1845, and we're going to take a look at how they have changed since then. So let's get started by looking at the first baseball bats used. In 1845, when baseball first started, most baseball players would make their own baseball bats out of wood. So baseball bats will come in all different types of shapes, sizes, all that. Some will have flat, not all baseball bats are round, some will have a flat head on one side, so they can make better contact, I guess. And baseball bats would range, anywhere from 32 inches to 42 inches, because in the early days, the baseball players thought that a longer bat and heavier bat will cause for them to will make them hit better or harder because the mass behind the bat. So it wasn't unusual to see a bat that was 42 inches and 50 ounces back in the day. But then MLB ended up making regulations on baseball bats, so now baseball bats can't be longer than 42 inches and the barrel has to be no larger than 2.75 inches at the maximum diameter. But there is still no weight restriction, so weight can still be 50 ounces if you please. The most popular type of wood bats were the ash bats because of the lightweight and they can swing it faster, make better contact, all that. But there's also other types of bats would be like maple, hickory, sycamore trees, all those. But ash tends to be the more popular. One of the most known brands of baseball bats are the Louisville Slugger baseball bats, which is the most commonly used in the game today. And we're going to take a look at how they got started. It all started when a 17-year-old boy named John A. Hillerich, nicknamed Bud, he worked at his father's wood shop. And one day he skipped work and went to a baseball game to see the Louisville Eclipse play a game of baseball. He saw his favorite player, Pete Browning, who was in a slump, break his bat. So after the game, Bud went up to Browning and told him that he could make him a new one. So he took him back to his father's shop and ended up making him a new bat. And then the next day, Browning would go 3 for 3 with 3 hits. And that's kind of the start of the Louisville Slugger. Now, after that, everybody wanted a bat from Hillerich and ended up making a company out of it. They were first known as Falls City Sluggers, but then changed its name to Louisville Slugger in 1894, which we know today. And by 1923, they became the top manufacturer of baseball bats. Then fast forward to around the 1970s is when aluminum bats started to become popular. And they were made because they were more durable. Wood bats would break anytime you get jammed inside or anything like that just because it's wood. So they started making metal just so they wouldn't break as much. And in the end, would become cheaper because since you're not having to buy a new bat every 5-6 games. And they were also were able to make aluminum bats lighter, and which would make the swings faster since the lightweight materials they were able to use. And with the aluminum bats, they created this trampoline effect with hitting. Because when you hit the ball with the aluminum bat, the ball will hit the bat and kind of give a little bit. The bat will give and then spring off like you were jumping on a trampoline. So this would make you essentially be hitting the ball farther, will help you hit the ball farther in the end. Well, the first type of aluminum bats were the BESR bats, which BESR stands for ball exit speed ratio. And these bats, they were made to increase power and production. And the BSR is the measured ratio of the ball exit speed to the combined speeds of the pitched ball and the swung bat. So that's how they measure how fast the ball's coming off the bat and whatnot. And these bats were used from 1999 to 2011, but they ended up being banned by high school and colleges and some little leagues because the ball was coming off the bat too hard and would come right back at a pitcher and hit him and just causing too many injuries. So they had to decrease the power of the bat. So in 2011, they came up with a new technology called BB core, which stands for batted ball coefficient of restriction. And these bats were made to kind of lessen the pop of the bats, so the ball wasn't coming off as fast as it was with the BSR. The BB core bats, the ball probably comes off at around averagely like 100 miles an hour, as to where the BSR, the ball was coming off at around 125 miles an hour. So it gives a big difference. And this technology was introduced by a professor from Illinois University named Dr. Alan Nathan, who spent 20 years working with nuclear particle physics. And then at the turn of the century in the 2000s, he started focusing his time on baseball research and ended up coming up with this technology. Sorry about that. These BB cores are more wood-like now, so like I said, it's less pop and it reduces the injuries. And with this bat, the offense has dropped dramatically in high school and college baseball. It's more of a pitching game now. So in the end, like, they're all just bats. It doesn't really matter, like, the technology of the bat. It matters who's using the bat. So if you can hit, then you can hit. But it's kind of like a psychological effect for the players. They think they have the best technology to hit, and they think they're going to do better when if they can hit, they can hit. That's all that matters. Because a paintbrush doesn't make the art. The painter who's using the paintbrush makes the art. It's very similar with baseball and baseball bats. It's the player using the bat that makes the bat. So, thank you for listening.